It is going to happen. We are going to hire a woman who's going to direct a Star Wars movie. I have no doubt.
Can you talk about what you're doing today, not only hiring women at Lucasfilm, but also...
On the other hand, I want to make sure that we put somebody in that position who's set up for success. Mm-hmm. It's not just a token job to look out and try to find a woman that we could put into a position of directing Star Wars. And it is interesting because I have a huge number of men who call me constantly and tell me how much of a Star Wars fan they are and how much they want to get involved in anything to do with Star Wars. I don't have a lot of women who call and have those conversations with me.
Maybe that's a key to getting hired, is you've got to be a big fan of the material.
Identity. My name is Khan.
If only there was a woman who was qualified, had screenwriting credits, is invested in the series, is a fan of it, wants to do right by it. Maybe one who can even resonate with some of the themes, like Kylo being a weird fanboy.
Okay, let's find a pen and start that screenplay. This movie is gonna knock them on their asses.
Right. What's it about?
Women in their 50s join the army and get laid by a bunch of grateful 18-year-olds.
Oh, God.
I have a huge number of men who call me constantly.
Yeah, exactly. I predict opening weekend, $1 million.
Have you been drinking wine all day?
Come on, Liz. It's the 90s.
Carrie Fisher's life is like if the universe set out to make you a drug addict. The child of Hollywood celebrities, gets into acting at a really young age, becomes the biggest fanboy crush of all time, has the indignity of having to have Dan Aykroyd save her life, and is being the huge fanboy crush celebrity in the cocaine-fueled 80s. That's like the forces of the universe conspiring together to make you a drug addict. Or in other words, how did Carrie Fisher die? She was force-coked.
Moved down to flight speed and we're preparing to...
Hey, you can't joke about death like that.
Tragically passed away in a plane accident, and my father consoled Elizabeth with his penis. It turns out I have a terrible memory, which should relax a lot of people in this room.
I bet she even got to wear a bra, even though you told me I couldn't because there was no underwear in space. And in conclusion, Your Honor, I hope I slept with you to get the job, because if not, who the hell was that guy?
Maybe hire that lady to write on your new Star Wars. Maybe she'll have something to say that's feminist, like men are trash. Or you could put in a 1.5-second lesbian kiss and just change the main character's gender to female and pretend it's all better.
It is going to happen. We are going to hire a woman.
So she hired 21 dudes and no women. Is this proof that she's like a hypocrite or bad at her job or lying? Or does it really prove that she's not the one in charge? Maybe Disney's really in charge. Maybe it's Bob Iger, the head of Disney. Maybe she's the good guy in all of this, is constantly fighting Disney as they try to meddle in it, insert toys into the storyline, make changes to please Chinese audiences, and just rush through it. Don't take any time to write it ahead of time. Just rush through it. You need profits. Put it out now. They spent $4 billion buying the franchise, and they then just immediately start pumping out movies. Like the first one's coming out before they realize what it is they're going to write for the second one. Fuck creativity or good writing. Just pump them out. They're not toilets, people. They could have not spent $4 billion on Star Wars and just taken some of that money to hire a bunch of nerds. Sit in a room. Write things. Come up with new stuff. $4 billion worth of screenwriters sitting around. Maybe they'd think of something new. And so we don't just have another trilogy with Chewie in the Millennium Falcon with C-3PO and then like a pilot, and they blow up the Doomsday devices. The difference between the trilogy being great and the trilogy sucking is probably at least $1 billion. So here, take $108 million, hire 1,080 screenwriters, have them write 1,080 trilogies. One of those 1,080 trilogies will be the best one, so make that one. Or you could make all those writers get together and work with each other and mine the good ideas from each other's works and come up with one great trilogy. It sounds like a lot of work, but if you take a couple of years and you really write this stuff out, that might make an extra $1 billion. The trilogy we actually got would probably rank dead last in this 1080 competition, because it will be the only one in the competition that was written by 2 authors that hate each other. Oh, that's too much work? Takes too long? Fine. Pay some nerds to look through all the 1,000 Star Wars books that have already been written, and just steal all the best bits and make a new trilogy that way. Actually, according to my sources, they really did have 1,080 trilogies written, but rather than like picking the best one, they just mashed all 1,080 scripts together into a pile, and that's why there's 1,080 Death Star destroyers. Maybe she should have just put J.J. Abrams in charge for the whole thing. Pretend he's Spielberg, let him do his thing. Maybe we get a halfway decent trilogy. It's probably not going to be very original.
My name is Khan.
But it could be like competent, or, maybe not.
Into a living hell.
But after much research, I've decided that I know who is ultimately to blame for this clusterfuck of a series. Is it Disney, Kathleen, JJ? Actually, it's this guy. Instead of movies, why not make a limited series? Some of the best stuff being done is now in series, like Game of Thrones, until it sucked. If you're gonna do a trilogy, do it like Lord of the Rings. Write it all, plan it all out ahead of time, rather than rushing through it. That way you can set things up. You would never have shit like suddenly deciding in the 3rd film that you have to bring back a villain from 3 movies ago. And what about a movie that launches a series and you do some episodes on your streaming, whatever, and then another movie, and then some more episodes, and then another movie. You could develop the characters and expand on the world. The fans and people who like to use their Bryans could dig into the details, while the average moviegoer could just still get the popcorn experience of the big movie. You could still get your billions. Maybe there's an example of this right now on TV. That's right, The Queen's Gambit.
Men are gonna come along and want to teach you things. Doesn't make them any smarter. You just let them blow by, and you go on ahead and do just what and how you feel like.
It's about an orphan with a superpower. She's a prodigy with superhuman abilities. But she also has a bunch of issues, like, being an orphan, being a chess savant while all the girls your age just want to talk about, like, boys, and it's weird. Having a weird relationship with your adopted parents, substance abuse. She struggles with failure, has a lot of chess nerds that want to check her mate, and over the course of 7 hours, you see her grow from child orphan to just learning chess with a janitor who becomes her mentor. She has early victories, but defeats. Deaths, romance, big chess tournament. Relationships have arcs, characters change. Her superpower chess ability is a lot like the Force. And when it comes to a match, she doesn't just squint harder and chess more. There's like logic and rules to how chess works. I bet chess nerds pause the show and analyze the chessboard, and it probably makes sense. I don't know. If it were Disney's array chess story, she would just invent new chess pieces that can move however the fuck she wants. They would make this into a trilogy of 3 movies, but in the first movie, she wins like the World Super Bowl chess championship, and then they're like, well, now what? And so by the 3rd movie, they need like a bigger thing, and so they dig up a zombie corpse of the greatest chess master of all time because, oh shit, what are we doing? Also, she's friends with everyone and everybody likes her and has no problems, and being an orphan has no follow-on consequences.
It's not your fault.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that we have to tear it down. That's the thing about movies. I'm always like, really? We built this amazing thing and now we have to tear it down?
You're his granddaughter. You are a Palpatine.
The Force. Subscribe to this channel or I will throw this dog in a bog. Bog dog.
I'm gonna club this baby seal! That's right! I'm gonna club his seal to make a better deal!
If you're gonna make Return of the Jedi 2, then I think there's one major glaring oversight in this film. A scene that's extremely important to the story that they didn't include. So why did you hack frauds not include an updated version of this? This movie is the story about how in the 9th film, finally, they kill Palpatine, the guy who's been pulling the strings the whole time. And he's definitely dead because, like, his ghost isn't coming back from that, right? So he came back from the dead before, but he was able to do that because, well, the 2 lightsaber things definitely did it. So at the end, when they're all like, "We did it, we killed him," that 2 lightsaber thing, that definitely did the trick. Let's party. It's going to obviously remind you of Return of the Jedi when they did the same thing. And it's really going to remind you of the Return of the Jedi because this movie spends lots of time rooting around in the wreckage of that. Also, in this trilogy, people die all the time, but then JK, they're not dead. Also, there's multiple ghost characters. Hey, we gotta erase C-3PO's memory. Oh no, it's fine, we just restored it from a backup. So you see, they were mistaken in Return of the Jedi. I think he was dead because of the clone ghost thing. You definitely can't do that again. Maybe Wikipedia explains how the coming back to life thing. Oh, okay. Oh, hey, I wonder if that's in JAMA. Oh, look at that. Hey, you know that scene in Revenge of the Sith?
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
He was just trying to sell his book. So Disney's just gonna bring him back again for the next trilogy, right? Or no, come on, they'll definitely think of some new things. I mean, there's a lot of new ideas out there for Star Wars.
So
The possibilities
are
endless.
endless.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody feel like rewatching Return of the Jedi? Oh, wait. There's a ghost clone zombie wizard guy, right? And you think he's dead, but you're not sure. Tell me if you've heard this movie pitch before. Star Wars Episode 10, Ghostbusters 5.
When there's something strange in the neighborhood, who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? It's the Ghostbusters, some doobadoo. So, overall, I give the Dog Yoda costume 3.5 thumbs up. Join me next week when I'll be reviewing Dog Adat Walker costume. Alright, let's turn the channel. This channel's stupid.
Very criticism.
Am I allowed to cry at Ted? And it was like it was hurting Tom's nose. And I learned this very early on in my career. Don't hurt Tom's nose.
Her either.
Hey, she'll show you her tits if you give her some ice.
What are the rules?
How can a plant really identify a murderer?
This is his face when you do Kegels.